Why is my email going to the spam folder? Hi, I'm George and I run Yocto. We're a Klaviyo Elite partner and we work with 9-figure brands like Yalf, Kilo Health, and BetterMe. We build email programs that don't just actually land in the inbox, but they do so at scale, over time, without burning the domain reputation. And if you're here, chances are you're dealing with this exact situation. You are doing everything right, and yet emails are landing on spam. In this video, I'm gonna break down exactly why that happens. In plain English, I'm not gonna use complicated technical jargon, and more importantly, I'll tell you how to actually fix it without any rabbit holes, no deliverability myths, no platform blaming, just the real reasons inbox providers are sending you to spam and how you can reverse it. Let's kill the biggest lie first, because a lot of people think that spam is something that Klaviyo controls on the back end, that the emails going to spam must be a Klaviyo issue, or like some toggle that's wrong within your settings, or some like hidden deliverability trick. And that's actually not how it works. Klaviyo doesn't really decide where your emails land. It's inbox providers that do, and those are like Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo, Apple Mail, and so on. Klaviyo's job is actually to just deliver your message into the ecosystem. From there on, it's the inbox providers that look at your behavior as a sender and your subscribers' behavior as recipients of your emails, and then they make a judgment call on whether you should be spam filtered or not. And basically, once you understand what they are looking at and how they are evaluating your sends, then whether you land on spam stops feeling mysterious or random, and it's actually something that you can very easily treat. Now, what inbox providers actually want? Inbox providers don't dislike marketers. Like, they don't wake up trying to block your campaigns. They have exactly three goals. First, they're gonna know that you're a legitimate sender, not a burner domain or like a spammer that's impersonating somebody, or they don't wanna have you blast purchased lists. So they basically ask, is this domain consistent? Does it send predictably? Does it behave like a real business? And that's it. And then secondly, they want to know if people actually want to receive your emails, not opened once 10 years ago, not signed up when they were at school, but like, do they consistently open? Do they click? Do they reply? Do they not mark your emails as spam? And inbox providers watch behavior way more than they do the copy or the design of your emails, right? The third thing, they want your messages to be safe. They don't want scheduling, they don't want deceptive or inconsistent subject lines, no changes in behavior that look automated or abusive. And that's it. They are basically judging patterns. And by the way, all of this happens algorithmically and at scale. There's no like secret inbox provider council actually evaluating your emails. It's all algorithmic. Now, what is actually more interesting and where most people mess up is figuring out what the recipients want. Because of course, the inbox providers play a huge role, but they're ultimately just proxy judges for what your recipients do with your emails. And the recipients themselves have their own hierarchy of needs, if you will, when it comes to email. At the most basic level, what people want you to do is be respectful, right? This means you email them when you say you will, you don't trick them into signing up, you don't keep hammering them with your emails, even if they've long stopped engaging with your emails. And when you break this first layer of trust, you get unsubscribes, you get spam complaints, and of course there's disengagement happening rapidly within your email list. The next level is actually that your emails are just functional, that they load fast, that they render properly on mobile or dark mode, that they have clear call to actions, ultimately that they're not broken or sloppy. Because if people can't actually use your emails, of course they won't engage with them, sending a negative signal to the inbox providers as a consequence of that. And the last piece, of course, is that you want your emails to be valuable. This means that not every email should be a sale, frankly. There has to be some level of education and novelty and frankly entertainment in many ways within the emails that you send. You have to understand what they value before you can determine what value your email should be delivering. And this goes into frankly doing keyword research, doing research service to your audience, frankly talking to them even. It's a long-term effort, but the more quickly you figure this out, the more you can use your emails to also become a content distribution channel, not just a discount delivery mechanism, which is what actually most brands are doing. They're trying to use emails as a way to just deliver discounts to people, which works to an extent. At least it works on the short term, but it quickly tanks engagement of the list because there's only so many offers one person can receive before they lose interest in what it is that you're selling, with some exceptions, I should say. If you have a lot of SKUs and the offers are interesting, the products are interesting, this can be slightly different different, but 99% of you are not in that situation, which means, frankly, make sure your sending practices are respectful, make sure your emails are functional and accessible, and then lastly, figure out what people want so that you can start sending them more interesting content. Now, why are your emails actually going to spam? These are the most common patterns we see that probably apply to you. Number one, you are sending to too many people who've frankly stopped caring about your emails. It can be that you're using old lists, that you're targeting unengaged segments, or like basically everybody who hasn't unsubscribed, frankly. And inbox providers see that and think, okay, people don't want to be receiving this. Number two, your sending behavior is inconsistent. You have basically no sense for weeks, and then suddenly you start blasting every single day. This looks problematic and risky for inbox providers. Number three, your content over promises and under delivers. You have clickbait subject lines. There's a mismatch between what your call to action say and what people see on the landing page, and basically people stop trusting them, stop opening them, and stop clicking on them, and frankly start reporting you as a spammer. Now, the obvious question is, if this is why emails go to spam, then what can I do to actually fix it? So here's the practical version without any jargon. Step one, you need to walk before you can run. This is the one step that most brands skip. For example, if you're sending 3 times a week and you're messaging people who haven't engaged in the last 4 months, in the last 5 months, you're basically talking to people who've been actively ignoring you for months. They've ignored dozens of messages. And from the inbox provider's point of view, this looks like you don't take engagement seriously at all, which makes you a problematic sender. So before you start scaling the volume of emails and you start sending 3, 4, 5 times a week, you need to earn trust. And if you want a simple rule of thumb, message prospects, meaning those who haven't purchased from you, that engage in the last 60 days, and message customers, meaning people that have purchased at least once with you, who engage in the last 90 days. And that's it. And of course, there's a lot of nuance on this. I have a separate video on this channel that goes deep into segmentation. But if you want to keep it simple, do this. Last 60 days for non-customers, last 90 days for customers. Start there. You can always widen later if your results and engagement improves. Now, you cannot fix reputation while blasting engaged users. That's the number one thing I want you to take away. Number two is I want you to understand that you need to be predictable in your sending behavior. You don't want to erratic behavior, basically, right? So inbox providers have no issues with you sending a lot of emails. They have no issues with you sending daily, frankly. We have projects that are sending more than daily. What they don't like is that you make sudden changes in your behavior. There's 2 hard rules. Number one, do not more than double your sending volume from one day to the next. So if you're sending twice a week and you are having 100,000 recipients, don't go to 500,000 recipients suddenly. Number two, do not change frequency. This I already covered. You shouldn't be disappearing for weeks and then coming back with a vengeance and sending a flood of campaigns. You want to basically have a predictable pattern that you're more or less sticking to. Erratic behavior is very problematic from a deliverability standpoint. It's also the fact that your recipients become unengaged if they're not used to receiving your emails, right? Step 3, you need to match expectations to reality. This one causes quite a few spam issues, and it's not happening in a very evident way. Basically, if your subject line promises one thing and then the email delivers something else, people feel misled, and they may not hit the spam complaint immediately, but they will be less likely to open your next emails. They will be less likely to click your next emails. So over time, you are having disengagement increase. And again, inbox providers do notice that. Basically, you should say what the actual email is and deliver on that. That's the most simple rule that I can give you. Trust is better clickbaiting people, basically. Step 4, stop optimize every email for maximum money extraction. If every email is urgent, if every email is high pressure, there's discounts and countdown timers, etc. Again, you will create more revenue, but over time, engagement will drop, spam will follow, and your deliverability will drop. You need to have a balance between educational and relevant and even entertaining content, and then promotional content that's meant to maximize sales. You have to do both. And the bottom line is that for you to be winning a place in the recipient's inbox, you need to earn this. It's not something that you can hack your way into. You need to provide value so that people want to be receiving your emails. Now, there's a nuance to this, which is that not all inbox providers are identical. They have their own sensitivities. The 3 most common are Gmail, Outlook, and Yahoo. And even though they're similar, again, Gmail is more engagement driven. They care a lot more about opens and clicks and whether people will move your email out of spam, etc. Which means that if you have Gmail email issues, what you want to do is create micro engagements early. So within the welcome flow, when people sign up for your emails, or within the post-purchase flow, ask them a simple question, invite them to reply, prompt them to click, get them to engage more, because this does train Gmail to trust you. You need essentially to get them to engage with your emails. And of course, the best touch points to do so are when they are more likely to be engaged, which is immediately after they sign up and immediately after they purchase something. Let's talk about Outlook. Outlook is more looking at patterns. They don't really like when your volume spikes a lot, when you're having erratic schedules, when you are being silent for a time and then you start sending bursts of emails. So basically, you should try as much as possible to have a stable cadence, even if this means sending less. You have to make sure you're being consistent because predictability is what builds your reputation here. Let's talk about Yahoo. Yahoo is more about complaints. They are sensitive about spam complaints. If you start receiving spam complaints, it's gonna hurt you more here than anywhere else. So the most practical tip I can give you is to make unsubscribing easy and obvious. Put it right at the very top. If you wanna stop receiving emails, click here to unsubscribe. Because A, unsubscribes don't actually hurt deliverability. It's a common misconception. And B, spam complaints absolutely do. So the more easy you make it for people to unsubscribe, the less likely they are to bother to report you as a spammer. And this will protect your sender reputation. Now, there's one extra tip that applies to all three inbox providers, which is of course double opt-in. Double opt-in means someone signs up, they need to confirm interest before they're actually added to your list. So basically they receive an email that says confirm you want to subscribe and receive those emails. It guarantees that you have permission to be sending emails. Obviously, this results in fewer people entering your list because not everybody will bother to do this. And we, being professionals, we don't actually use double opt-in because we know how to manage a list. But if you don't have someone in-house who deeply understands deliverability, turning double opt-in on will solve almost every deliverability issue that you have. Why? Because your list quality will go up tremendously. You will have, of course, fewer signups, and you will basically only be having those that are most interested in receiving your email. So you will see your engagement go up, you will see your click rate go up, and on a per recipient basis, your performance will ultimately increase dramatically. And believe it or not, if you watched all the way till the end, now you know what to do to combat the most common spam related issues that you might be experiencing. Now, having said this, if you are dealing with spam issues and you don't want to deal with them, that's literally what my agency Yocto helps brands with. If you need professional help, there's a link to book a call with me down below. We'll look at what's actually going on and I'll tell you straight whether it's fixable or not. Lastly, ask you to subscribe if you found this useful. It really helps more than you think, and I promise you, got tons of cool videos coming your way. See you and thank you for watching.